Welcome to Echoes of the Unknown, the podcast where we'll be exploring some of the world's most fascinating unsolved mysteries. I'm Jack Montgomery, and today we're traveling back to 2006 to delve into the disappearance in Orlando of a young woman named Jennifer Kesse. To this day, it remains one of the most baffling missing persons cases in modern American history. The only clue was a haunting surveillance video the FBI dubbed the luckiest and unluckiest footage ever. Jennifer was born in New Jersey in 1981, but by 2006, at the age of 24, she was living in Orlando, Florida. A University of Central Florida graduate with a degree in finance, she had established herself as a project manager at Central Florida Investments, rising quickly through the ranks. According to friends and relatives, Jennifer was meticulous, disciplined, and radiated confidence. She had recently purchased her first home at Mosaic at Millennia, a sizable condominium community with around 375 units. Everything in Jennifer's life reflected upward momentum. She was close to her family. She had a wide circle of friends, and perhaps even more important to her, she had a serious boyfriend, Rob Allen, who lived 3 hours away in Fort Lauderdale. The timeline leading to her vanishing began on January 23, 2006. Jennifer had just returned from a romantic trip with Rob, where they had vacationed in St. Croix. She drove from his place in Fort Lauderdale to Orlando, and then called him around 10 p.m. that night when she got home to her condo. She was tired but in good spirits and planned to head to work the next morning. They talked for about an hour. Sadly, that conversation would be the last time anyone heard from her. The next day, Tuesday, January 24th, Jennifer never showed up at work. Her coworkers immediately sensed that something was wrong. She was always punctual and always communicative. When she didn't call or arrive at the office by 11 a.m., her workplace tried calling her, but the calls went right to voicemail. That prompted her coworkers to reach out to both Rob as well as her parents, but none of them had heard from her. Jennifer's worried parents, Joyce and Drew, drove straight to Orlando. When they arrived at her condo, they found the front door locked. There were no signs of forced entry or of Jennifer. Her car was gone, but inside nothing appeared out of place. Her suitcase from the trip was unpacked. Her clothes were neatly laid out, and a wet towel indicated that she had recently showered, all of which suggested she had begun her normal morning routine. Her cell phone, keys, and purse were missing, as would be expected if she had left for work. What wasn't expected, perhaps, was the total lack of any sign of a struggle. It was as if Jennifer had simply vanished the moment she stepped out her front door. A critical development came 2 days later, on January 26th. That's when Jennifer's black 2004 Chevy Malibu was found abandoned at Huntington on the Green, a condo community located just over a mile from her home. The vehicle had been methodically wiped clean of fingerprints. There were a few strange items inside, a DVD player on the back seat and folded clothes on the floor. But there was no evidence that linked the car to an abduction. And then came the surveillance video. A camera at the condo complex had captured the exact moment Jennifer's car was parked, at around noon on January 24th. But the most chilling detail was the driver. The footage did not show the act clearly, since it only took still frames every 3 seconds. But in 3 haunting images, you can see a person, believed to be the driver, walking away from the car. Unfortunately, the person's identity was perfectly obscured behind a series of metal fence posts in every single frame. The FBI later dubbed it the luckiest and unluckiest footage ever. The figure appeared to be relatively short, somewhere between 5 feet 3 inches to 5 feet 5 inches tall. He or she was possibly wearing work boots and a uniform, and the person's casual pace while walking away suggested a calm demeanor rather than panic or guilt. But no one has ever come forward to say, "That's me," and the person seen in the video has never been identified. Before her disappearance, Jennifer had expressed growing concerns about construction workers at her condo complex. Mosaic at Millennia was undergoing extensive renovations, employing numerous temporary and undocumented workers. She told friends and family that she felt watched, even harassed. One friend recalled her saying she would often be catcalled or would see groups of men stop talking suddenly when she passed by. It made her so uncomfortable that she occasionally left through the garage to avoid them. Let's talk now about the police investigation, which faced significant hurdles from its inception. Many people believe the investigation failed Jennifer in its earliest, most critical hours. The Orlando Police Department initially treated Jennifer's case as that of a missing adult, not a potential abduction. As a result, precious time was lost in the crucial first 48 hours, and by the time her car was found, vital forensic evidence had been compromised. Police initially focused on those closest to Jennifer, beginning with her boyfriend, Rob Allen. However, Rob was quickly cleared. They also looked into Jennifer's ex-boyfriends, co-workers, and even a maintenance worker at the condo who had previously made her feel uncomfortable. But none of these potential suspects was linked to her disappearance by any evidence. Jennifer's condo complex posed a particular challenge. Because of the massive renovation that was taking place around the time of her disappearance, dozens, if not hundreds, of day laborers had been coming and going. Many of them were undocumented, few employee records were kept, and no background checks were performed. By the time investigators began trying to question the transient workers, many had already moved on. One private investigator hired by Jennifer's family later said that attempting to interview these workers was like trying to interview ghosts. In 2018, after years of frustration with the investigation's lack of progress, Jennifer's parents successfully sued the Orlando Police Department to gain access to her case file. They settled the lawsuit in March 2019 and got access to files that contained over 16,000 documents. Drew and Joyce began to conduct their own investigation, launched a website, put up billboards, and mounted social media awareness campaigns. They filmed a special with Oxygen Network called Up and Vanished, which aired in early 2020, and also taped an episode with Dr. Oz entitled Disappeared: What Happened to Jennifer Kesse, which aired on June 30th, 2020. An episode of 48 Hours featuring Jennifer's disappearance aired on CBS on July 10th, 2021. Media appearances such as these helped renew public interest in the case. So what really happened to Jennifer Kesse? Let's dive into the major theories. The first theory suggests that Jennifer was abducted by a stranger at the condo sometime between 7:30 and 8 a.m., possibly in the parking lot. Some believe she was forced into her own car and made to drive, or was incapacitated and transported. The calm demeanor of the figure on the surveillance video suggests familiarity or chilling comfort. Another theory is that a construction worker was involved. Remember that Jennifer had voiced concerns about construction workers watching her. Her parents and private investigators suspect she may have been abducted by someone working on the property. The timing fits. The video figure's attire could match construction clothing, and the window for her disappearance aligns with shift start times. But here's the challenge. There were no names and no paper trail. Many of these workers could not even be interviewed. The trail went cold. Yet other people think Jennifer may have been targeted by someone she knew. Could someone she trusted have followed her home? Could an acquaintance, perhaps someone she had rejected or didn't even know well, have fixated on her? While there was no known stalker, the possibility of a one-sided obsession can't be ruled out. One ex-boyfriend, despite alibying out, continued to contact the family for years, raising eyebrows. But no hard evidence against him ever emerged. The final and darkest theory involves human trafficking. After all, Jennifer was an attractive woman living alone in a state with known trafficking corridors. But this theory has been largely dismissed by law enforcement. There's no evidence she was targeted for this reason, and most trafficking cases involve younger victims or runaways, not someone like Jennifer. Her face, her smile, and her memory continue to echo in the lives of those who loved her, and her parents have never stopped searching. Law enforcement officials suggest that someone holds crucial information but has not yet come forward. One former FBI agent told the media, "This case is solvable. Someone just needs to talk." Jennifer Kesse's disappearance remains one of Florida's most haunting unsolved mysteries. If you know anything at all, that could prove helpful, please visit jenniferkesse.com. You can submit tips anonymously. It's impossible not to wonder whether her abductor might still be out there, perhaps even hiding in plain sight. The truth may even lie in a dusty police file, some small yet vital piece of evidence that has remained hidden as an overlooked detail from the events of that fateful January morning so long ago. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Echoes of the Unknown. If you found this story compelling, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share with fellow mystery lovers. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, someone, somewhere, always knows more than they're saying.